And here we go.
5, 4, 3.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
We need to build a wall.
Dwarfs their mines. Men their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering day.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
No.
Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
Everyone!
I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead. We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
To him finally being lionized as in the prime and his prime. Fuck.
Do it!
Shit.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams be. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Luke went from being, oh no. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I have some great news for you today. I hope you're all doing great. Nope, that didn't work. One more.
You have failed me for the last time.
Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope.
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
That is eating away at what you love in order for it to shine. And one man's vision is... Sometimes you don't have to make things better for them to be great again. You merely have to Okay. Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up and he's fighting motherfucker.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
And unbearded dwarves, but Prime didn't stop there. They stapled in intersectionality, individuality, biddiga-dig-bee, biddiga-dig-boo.
So it begins.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, George the Giant Slayer.
What's going on, everybody? It is so good to be back with you all. It's Wednesday, March 5th, 2025 in the year of our Lord. How are y'all doing in there? Mother big already started problems. See, this is what I've been dealing with all day because we had this cold snap come in here and it's been causing me all kinds of crazy problems with my computer, but I'll fix it in a second. David Moore, how are you doing? Corbin Dallas, all right. Jose Taco, yeah, you're right. When you're right, you're right. But, you know, these things happen. These things happen. It's so good to see you all. Jose Pena, Revenant, Corbin Dallas, Nick the Greek, Eric, see howdy. We should have Eric K here and then Lord Thoth. Hopefully Olaf will join us too. All incredible human beings and great mods. Well, we got a lot to cover. We had last night kind of like quasi State of the Union from President Trump. Disney is slashing jobs. They're having to tighten the belt. You know, no more of that USAID money. No more woke nonsense, which caused their bottom line to crush. Now, having to fire people. Plus, Daredevil debuted. And then there was some news about Amazon's new James Bond. I'm going to share that with you. I don't know how I feel about it. On one hand, I feel really great. On the other hand, one of my favorite directors has seemed to have lost his mind lately with his latest pick. Plus, Disney also cut out Tiana, and that's causing a big backlash. Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning is coming out. They had some private screenings and supposedly it went really well, but the runtime is at 3 hours. So there's a lot to cover. We got the military going to the border. We're closing it up. We had a brilliant kid who was made a Secret Service agent last night. And of course, we have leftists who are losing their freaking minds. So we're going to fuel those flamethrowers and let's get going to roast the stupid and spit out the truth. Let's bring them out here. We got Verbal Riots joining us and Tom from Midnight's Edge. How you doing? How are you doing? You doing well? You recovered from Oscars?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I went from that to some kind of weird flu. So if my voice sounds kind of scratchy or messed up, it's because I'm trying to fight through it.
No, you sound great. It's just watching that Oscar stream, it looks like you had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, man. You know, and the funny thing about it too is other than Honora winning everything, it went exactly how I thought it would go for Amelia Perez. Which was 2 awards. I was like, it'll probably win 2 awards at most. And sure enough, I think it won 2 awards. I know Zoe Saldana won for Best Supporting, but I think they won another one previous to that.
I was a little bit surprised, I will tell you. I usually nail Best Actor, Best Actress categories, but I was wrong this year. I thought Demi was going to get it.
Oh, dude, everybody was wrong. Everybody, dude, no one thought Honora was going to take everything this year. Like that was crazy.
I figured after all these years, I don't think she's ever won one, right? I think she was nominated for one. The one she did when it was with Robert Redford.
This is her first one, her first nomination, I think.
I think so. Or was she nominated for
nomination?
Which was the one where he played Robert Redford played the character where he offers $1 million to the couple to sleep with a wife and
did she get nominated for that?
I'll just get nominated for that, but Indecent Proposal.
And you remember what a cultural touchstone that was? How everybody was talking about it. Would you let your wife? Would you let your husband? Remember that?
Dude, that was the whole beginning of the whole cuck scene, right? like that's what started the whole cuck thing. Was that movie?
It did. How many people? I would hear them on the radio driving to work, like, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind my wife for $1 million just one night." I'm like, okay, yep. That says a lot about you, buddy. But no, I was really stunned. I was really stunned at the fact that Demi Moore didn't, because I finally saw The Substance 2 weeks ago, which, of course, when RMB recommended it to me, he never told me how bloody and gory. And I was like, I thought it was, but.
Oh, yeah, it was a total body horror, man. And the weird thing about her not winning was that she had just won before in other awards, and usually that's how it works in the awards season. It's like usually the one that wins like the Golden
SAG
Globes,
Award, the gold, yeah.
SAG Awards. Like it kind of builds up to the Oscars, and it's almost like a given that they'll give it to that person that's just been winning in every category, right?
Right.
But that shocked me. That shocked me that they didn't give it to Demi.
Okay, so I wasn't the only one then who was stunned. Okay, good, because I was like, man, I picked Demi. I was like, no way, she's winning. This is it. Especially because of the fact that, I mean, come on, if you really look at the substance, the character she's playing is herself. I mean,
which is
Demi
normal.
Moore.
That's all she ever plays is herself.
Right, but
no
I mean,
offense. I mean, I know people love her, but I don't think she's. I think she's kind of overrated. I'll be honest with you.
Who, Demi Moore?
Yeah.
I think she's accurately rated. If that
she's fine. But
she's fine.
I don't know.
But what I'm saying is yes, I know a lot of actors who basically they embody themselves on screen. But I'm saying this was her. You're talking about the plastic surgery, the whole younger thing. That's she's obsessed with it. We've seen it.
But you know what though? I mean, the thing about it though is she did act her ass off in that film.
She did. She did. She took it, but it was like I'm saying, like she brought out a side of her that we've never seen. But again, it's like the character was tailor written, if that makes.
Oh yeah, for sure. And look, not that this has anything to do with the acting part of it, but the fact that this woman is 67 years old and decided to go buck naked in this film, you got to give her credit for that, man.
I do. That's why I wanted her to win. I thought she did a phenomenal job. I think she was hot as hell. Of course, my favorite Demi Moore movie is the Striptease.
Oh yeah,
and
that's every guy's favorite Demi Moore.
Demi Moore. You know, I remember her in St. Elmo's Fire. You remember that film?
Oh, absolutely. Breakfast, man. All the John Hughes movies. I was addicted. Man. I was like the only kid. I was like the only kid in the hood that like knew every like John Hughes movies line for line.
You know, I miss John Hughes. We need a John Hughes today so badly to speak up for, to make films for today.
You know who kind of almost stepped up to that, but just kind of just failed completely. But he almost got there was God, what's that director who did Superbad and like 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Judd Apatow?
Apatow. He got close to being something like that. Like he was the voice for, I guess, millennials or the Zennials, whatever. But he didn't quite get to where John Hughes was.
No.
Well, and the other problem is if we had somebody emerge like John Hughes right now, you'd really want to see their search history on their computer, because if you really like reassess John Hughes's movies, there's like no good reason a man his age should be writing movies this about these characters this good.
Well,
because it's like 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. How are these written by a dude?
Well, you don't think he loved his? I think he just loved his high school days, and he was just
yeah, it's mostly what it is. I'm not trying to accuse him of anything salacious, but like nowadays, I would definitely question that individual.
Well, today's Hollywood is woohoo.
Yeah, but I don't think we have that kind of voice anymore.
No, a Cameron Crowe or a John Hughes, you're missing. Yeah. Even Cameron Crowe's not the same guy he used to be, right? So like, no, you don't have anybody who can really tap into the youthful voice without being just completely out of touch. Like I don't know. And that's part of the problem too, and a lot of it's politics, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we move along here. But
but also I think the other part of that is I don't think there's not enough earnest directors or storytellers anymore, right? Because as corny as those 80s movies were,
right,
and cheesy as they were sometimes, they were earnest. They came from a very earnest place. And I feel like we live in such a skeptical time and such a cynical time that I don't know if there's a voice anymore.
I mean, I don't even know if
capture,
I mean, if it wasn't about like a lesbian relationship or somebody going trans, I mean, you couldn't even have this scene anymore about her boobies growing in 16 Candles, right? Like, I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Right?
Yeah.
No,
like,
you're really, it's like, but I also miss films like, which I can't stand the actor anymore because of his insane politics, just because they've crossed the line so many times. But Gross Point Blank, John Cusack's films, The Say Anything.
Yeah, of course, man.
Money for
Well, that's
Nothing.
because John Cusack went completely and fucking insane. But truth be told, I've heard that he hated most of the movies he was in.
Really?
Like, yeah, that's supposedly like the rumor is like he did not like most of the movies he was
in. Well, I mean, he had a pretty broad range of movies. So what
I think I'm talking about the ones where he's like the hipster kind of like, like the ones we always comment about, like say
like Better Off Dead
and Better Off Dead. Yeah, because you know what's funny is I was arguing with him about politics. You know what really made him block me was funny is when I called him Lloyd Dobler.
Wow.
Like that's what pissed him off. That was the fucking breaking point. Not only did that he blocked me, he blocked a bunch of people that follow me.
Dude, that was
I pissed off a bunch of people who are like, why did John Cusack block me? It's like
that was one of his best characters.
Absolutely. Don't you remember he was in what was it? 8 Men Out. That was a great baseball film.
Yeah.
And The Sure Thing. God, I love The Sure Thing. But see, that's what I'm talking about. You're not talking about high cinematic art, but just fun, feel good, have a good time popcorn flick. Not action, but just, I was thinking about that the other day when I'm doing this Gene Hackman marathon with all his heavy roles. And I was, where are the fun? Where is The Breakfast Club? Where is Say Anything? Or Grosse Point Blank? Just something fun. And I was looking through the movies over the last few years. I couldn't find one. Not really.
They're few and far between, man.
Yeah.
I think that era of storytelling might be over for hopefully.
To feel good.
We're no longer that innocent. Like,
yeah,
I think that's part of the problem.
Exactly, Tom. Like there was a certain innocence to the 80s, right? A certain we just weren't as fucked up as we are right now.
But you don't think that's
He's
a way
not
to put
wrong.
it.
That's the easiest way to put it, right? Like, I mean,
cheers to you, brother.
But there was this innocence. It's not a naivety so much, but it is an innocence about it, right? Like there was a tongue-in-cheek, like you can even take a movie like Revenge of the Nerds, right? Like that movie today is looked down upon for the raunchiness of it, some of what they perceive as anti-homosexuals and anti-whatever. It's like, no, if you actually sit and watch the film, it's the opposite of all that. And if you watch it now, the weird thing is if you take the boobs and the sex humor out of it, it is actually a pretty good family film. Like it's got a really good moral message. It's got a sweet nature to it. Cause all these guys, they're not mean. None of them are out to do anything.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and all they are is just constantly made fun of and beat down. And despite that, they always try to find the positives, and outside of maybe Booger,
Booger, my God.
The rest of them, always kind of just
kind of Bush.
Yeah. I said we blow the fucker's house up.
But like Porky's, you remember Porky's?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, great example too. Yeah, but
great films, man.
And even that had an innocence about it, right? And that was about the 1950s, and the whole movie's about a hole in the wall that can see into the girls' locker room.
No,
her shower, actually.
They built an entire movie around that, and Kim Cattrall howling.
Why do they call her Lassie?
Lassie, yeah. But that's what I'm talking about, and I think part of that is. It's missing, but it's not giving young people or 20-year-olds, even 30-year-olds, it's not giving them something where it's like you can kick back and have fun. Yeah. Remember something that, life doesn't have to be serious 24/7.
I think the internet changed a lot of it. The 24-hour news cycle. I mean, there's a number of things we could throw in there. The sexual revolution, the fourth wave feminism. Whatever you want to put, maybe even a little bit of the third wave. Because look at a film like Stand By Me is another great example. Right? Like that movie takes place in the middle of the 60s, but who cares? Any boy from circa 1950 through 1990 that was born can watch that movie and relate.
Yeah, of course.
You're one of those kids in that movie, and everything they did in that movie was something you and your buddies did. Right? And that's why sometimes I get it why like guys like Robert Meyer Burnett don't like Goonies and stuff like that, and some other people don't. I understand if you were a certain age when that movie came out, you probably just couldn't relate to it. But like I look at it like I do Stand By Me. It's like that's every kid when they're young and they're having an adventure in their backyard, fighting pirates and looking for treasure. Right? It's a real story. It's really happening to these kids, but that's what every kid envisions in their brain, just like with Stand By Me. It's not the idea of going to see a dead body. It's the idea of traveling the countryside with your best buds, going fishing and hunting and camping and lying to your parents about it and all that kind of shit and getting away with stuff you're not supposed to do, maybe sneaking some beers or something like that, like just the little things that we're all about growing up, the kids don't do anymore. Right?
Yeah,
Like, that's the big difference.
I think they do it. I don't think Hollywood's showing it. I think that's the problem.
I don't know. I think a lot of kids don't, George. I think that's part of the problem.
Well, that's also because kids have changed, right? Kids
Exactly. That's my point. The internet and all that stuff. Yeah.
Like they sit behind a screen all day, right? Whether it's playing video games or looking at YouTube videos. Like kids don't do the same things that we used to do back in the day. You know, for us, getting outside was everything, man. Like we didn't want to be outside. You know, we and once we were outside, we didn't want to come back inside.
Yeah.
We stay outside, right?
The only time I didn't want to be outside was Saturday morning cartoons and Kung Fu Theater. Kung Fu Theater. That was pretty much it.
But no, these kids
it was
now,
super
man,
cold.
It's a little different. And they're not the same type of like we were basically.
No, and my kid was even different growing up. Right, I noticed it then with his generation because that was what it was. Is they were getting sucked into the video games and the internet and the tech and all that kind of stuff. It's like, why don't you go outside and play for a bit? You know, like,
really quickly, like going back to the Oscars though, I want to say my biggest problem with the Oscars, man, and not just this one, but just in general. But look, this past Oscars, of course they threw in a few jokes, but overall it wasn't woke. It was just boring. It was just boring, like straight up. But my problem with the Oscars in general, though, are just the type of movies that they nominate, man.
They're shit.
Because, I mean, they've always been a little pretentious, but there was also this balance of, hey, yeah, we have these movies, but hey, you know what else is nominated? Movies you've actually seen, right? And that list of movies you've actually seen is getting lower and lower and lower and lower to now it's just all these, like, you know, I'm not saying they're not good films.
Right.
But it's always these art house films now that are being and small art house films that only like 5 people have seen.
Yeah, how many people have seen The Substance? Really, truly.
But here's the thing, though. I think The Substance probably got more views than most of the films that were being nominated.
Where are the days of Immortal Beloved, Gladiator, Amadeus? You remember those were in many ways those were masterpieces, but they were big cherry.
And the movies that people saw.
Everybody would watch it. Exactly. I will say the one thing that I did make fun of several times was Skeletor.
Oh, Jesus.
And Edward Scissorhands wants his fucking.
It's not Skeletor, it's Nosferatu.
I don't know. I mean, because you've lived around this your whole life. Do they just do this? I mean, is this something they believe in, or are they doing it for attention? Because I look at it as this is just attention seeking. Dante.
Oh, dude, when you're talking about the Hollywood cult, man, here's the scary thing. I think this is really her.
You think this is?
I don't think this is an act.
Wow,
that's the scary part.
No, she is Nosferatu.
Yeah, she's just a weirdo, dude. And Hollywood is full of weirdos, man. I don't get her. You know what's funny though, man? I think I could say this pretty confidently. Most of the Black community doesn't get her.
Okay.
Because I'll be on site, right? I'll be on pages, Black, quote unquote, Black pages like the Shade Room and some other, things where Black folks just congregate. Mm-hmm. And
what you're telling me is there's secret places where Black people go to make fun of us. Gotcha.
well, I'll get into that in a minute. But yes, no, I'm kidding. But no, she whenever they bring her up, like it's not a good response from Black people. So,
like, what do they say?
Well, I mean, because number one, she's British or she's from overseas, right?
Right.
She has said some pretty negative things about Black Americans,
mm-hmm.
That she's trying to kind of sweep away and say that she didn't say. But the internet is forever, kind of thing.
Forever, yeah.
So that was already a strike. But the fact that she's just completely this weirdo, man, and. Look, no one denies her talent. The woman can sing.
She can sing.
No, you can't take it away.
No two ways about it. Yeah, but she's a nutcase.
She's insane, and it's not even that she's a lesbian. She's just a weird lesbian.
Yeah, I see. I didn't even think about it. I just think I think this is just someone who's back crap crazy. I don't care what it's like. Why do you show up anyway? It's the same thing with Ariana Grande, the way she showed up. I'm like, somebody give her a fucking cheeseburger. I mean, just save. Did she lose another 20 pounds? I'm like, damn.
We're going on with that girl, man. I don't know if you saw that video where she talks about her mind getting erased.
What was that shit about? I did have it. I just
Ariana Grande?
Yeah, I think that girl is so hungry that she forgot who she was talking to. and she let it slip.
Talk about a slip.
Well, some people were getting a little tinfoily about this. Like, I guess they were doing some digging.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing that she's talking about is supposedly this mind erase kind of thing that supposedly went around for a bunch of the kids that were, supposedly diddled.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
She sounds nuts in here too.
Yeah, she does.
Talk about music. You told me you're not going on tour anytime soon. Right, yeah. Eternal Sunshine. You've said the deluxe edition is in the can. What's the next step? What do we got?
The next step is the next step. It means it must come out. It's been.
Do you have a release date?
You know what? They did the Brighter Days memory erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy.
Wait a minute. Is she joking around? Did they remake
memory erasure,
Did they remake
the memory erasure? They erased my memory. It's a little foggy, but
if you could remember, struggle. Tell me. Give me a date.
Wait, isn't that the Variety reporter that always says?
It is. No, but go back up. He asked, when is the Spotless Mind thing coming out? Are they remaking that, or is she doing like a Broadway version of that? Is she trying to be funny here? And everybody misinterpreted it. I didn't catch that first part till now.
Dude, I hope that's what it means, Tom.
Rewind it all the way back to the very, very start, because he asks, when is the Eternal Mind coming out?
Let's talk about music. You told me you're not going on tour anytime soon. Eternal Sunshine. You've said the deluxe edition is in the can. What's the next step?
What the hell is that? Eternal Sunshine. What is that?
I have no idea. Maybe it's our album.
Well, he said in the can, which means film.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, did she do a remake of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and she's trying to be punny and jokey about it because she don't know when it's coming out?
Yeah, now this all makes sense. Okay, like, yes, I think that's exactly what this means. Okay. I think it's a bit. It's a bit.
Wow. Okay, it's a bit.
Because once you said Eternal Sunshine, I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay, that's what this is.
I still think it's a little crazy, but well, okay. And
but here's the thing, though. I do believe this girl is so hungry that she has lost her memory.
Okay, so she did an album inspired by the movie.
Right.
Okay. So I think she's trying to be funny.
Okay.
And it's not coming off like it was supposed to.
She's not very funny.
No, I think
well, the fact that so many people were willing to believe it was the other thing tells you like what people think about Hollywood.
Right. I mean, I could totally understand why people would think that. Like,
well, on the flip side, we had good
Is that
news.
the name of the company that Jim Carrey goes to in that movie? It's been forever since I've actually seen it.
I have no idea.
I totally forgot.
I think it is.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
Yeah, about that time. Anyway, we had also good news the last few days.
Before you jump ahead, I just wanted to say, because Dante was talking about how the Oscars have changed, and you were saying, George, about how, and both of you were saying how, things people actually heard of were nominated before, because you're not wrong, right? Like, I remind people all the time that Sigourney Weaver was nominated for playing Ripley in Aliens, right? Like, I mean, there used to be a time where people in movies used to get nominated of movies that we actually went and saw, but you're right, like the artsy-fartsy movie, like Out of Africa, would always end up winning. Right. Exactly. Like, it was always that way. It was never a failure. Like, of course we would all love this other movie, but Annie Hall would win against Star Wars. You know what I mean? It was never a surprise when that would happen. Rocky was probably more of a surprise when that won over whatever else came out that year.
Because Rocky wasn't a franchise movie at the time. Right. It was just its own film.
Exactly. But the other thing is what happened is it stopped becoming a roast, because that was the other thing is, all the stars were drunk as fuck anyway. Right. So they're all making fun of each other and what they do. It wasn't so hoity-toity up their ass. And then in the 90s, what I call English Patient Zero happened. And that's Harvey Weinstein. And he came in and started buying up the Oscar campaigns. And that's when you noticed all these really shit movies that nobody went to see that Harvey Weinstein would get behind and put a bunch of money behind, like that, Shakespeare in Love, all that kind of crap would start winning most of the time. Sure, you had Titanic in there and Return of the King once in a while, but after that point, up until Harvey was gone, like, that was the kind of movies that were there. And then it just became nothing but the stuff you were talking about, Verbal, where it was just endless indie crap that nobody would see or ever heard of, right? Like, South Park made the joke about it all those movies being nothing but black and white movies with gay cowboys eating pudding. And it's like, yeah, that's basically what most of these things are. They're that stupid. And that's what it kind of got to. And it just kind of lost the main audience. And since then, that's what they've done, is lose the main audience. You add in all the woke shit, the virtue signaling, everything else that's going on.
Well, yeah, and that's why
no
the
wonder
numbers
it was
go
the
down.
third lowest, rated Oscars ever. But yeah.
The numbers go down every year, man.
They do. Yep. It was horrible. And they readjusted them this morning, but still one of the lowest rated ones. Gary Thomas for $10. Hey, long time watcher, first time super chatter. Well, hey, thank you for that. Tom and Verbal are right. Kids today have fewer friends, go outside less, drink less alcohol, and have less sex than their parents or grandparents. Great point. That's why we have them here. Brilliant guys. Thank you for that, Gary Thomas. Really appreciate it. Hold on. Let's give you a nice big clap. It's your first time. Thank you. Beautiful. And then we also have my favorite, Graph Web for $2 in the name of all that is holy. So Disney Plus. Love you, Graph Web. Nobody says it just as succinctly, as pithy as you do. Just on point with a mission. One man on a mission from God. I think one of the good pieces of news over the last few days, it's been overlooked by a lot of people, is about North Carolina. North Carolina.
Days into his administration, President Trump told North Carolina that you're not forgotten. Today we celebrate a critical step in rebuilding the state, reopening Interstate 40. I visited the critical route to see for myself the devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene. Roughly 3 million cubic yards of material was washed away from the side of the interstate, taking 2 whole lanes with it. I committed to participating with local officials to clear the red tape and rebuild as quickly as possible. Thank you to North Carolina DOT for the job you've done. There's still so much work to do, but reopening I-40 after being closed for almost 5 months is a major step in the right direction.
And that's what's great. They finally reopened it. Biden hadn't even addressed it. I mean, so I think that's a beautiful thing that happened. That was from, I believe, the Secretary of State. And then you had, get this, LA Times columnist, right? Because you have have y'all been paying attention to the fact that you have South Carolina is going through a incredible wildfire? It's destroying everything. Well, you had an LA Times columnist, Michael Hiltzik, wrote an article celebrating the South Carolina wildfires. Let that sink in for a minute. You have a writer is celebrating that a state is going through fires, going through their own catastrophe, but he's happy because of politics. Because his whole bit is, he goes, now California can get off the radar, basically, of the administration, and everybody can get off their backs so they can, not withhold the money until they change policies. He doesn't want California's policies, Sacramento's policies for climate change to change, which are what actually helped cause the fires, or make it in a way where they couldn't manage them properly. So he writes this long-winded article where he's just having these joy, happy feelings. He's saying, see, it also happened in a red state. Therefore, fires happen. Therefore, California is off the hook, so we don't have to change our policies. Can we get our federal dollars? What do you think of that? Typical?
Typical, yeah.
It's just crap. Could you imagine someone celebrating the destruction and pain of others just so they can continue their ideology? Because that's what it's all about. He's like, see, it wasn't climate change policies that did this. Therefore, we need to get our money from the federal government so we can rebuild. I'm just like, hey,
dude,
love you, Terry.
I'm practically living that every day here in LA. So
when you mean when you say that you're living that, I mean, you get that from people, or is it just stuff you hear?
I mean, the stuff I hear most of the time is, yeah, the fires were bad, but we still have to take care of climate change. We still have to make sure that it doesn't. And I'm like, why are we still talking about this? This has nothing to do with why people lost their homes, right? But LA is a really dumb place, man.
Okay.
It really is. It's not known for its brightest, Silicon Valley aside. It's just not.
Gotcha. And then we had
really quickly, LA.
Yeah, go.
Look, I feel like the reason why people are the way they are here in LA is because they can afford to be. Barely afford to be, mind you, but they can afford to be. Like, they don't deal with real issues.
Like, they don't care about the price of eggs. Like,
they don't deal with the same kind of issues that people in the Midwest deal with. So they're very stupid when it comes to like real life stuff. And yeah, so they'll continue to support people like Newsom. They'll support people like Bass, purely just because they support a sanctuary state.
What about, I heard the recall for the mayors is going to happen?
I'll believe it when I see it.
So you don't think it's going to happen?
Here's the thing. I think if it does, it would have to be another black person running against her.
I don't care who it is, as long as they're competent and not a whack job like
she. But here's the problem, George. Is for me to even say that means they're so stupid that they're not even looking to replace her with someone competent.
So you're saying it would go, she's black,
another color to replace.
And we have got to get out of that mindset. Just get back to good. And I don't care what color, creed, just be good. Be good, do good for the people.
Well, and that's why California will continue to fail.
Hopefully I thought they would learn. Mexican Iron Man member for 14 months and our intrepid producer, George needs to get in line with Democratic policy. Never going to happen. Anyway, I don't know if this is sad news, good news, because it's kind of like both. I guess in one way, nostalgically, it's like I feel it's bad, but it's also good. Doctor Who's VFX studio, which used to be known as The Mill, shut down. So I think this is getting more confirmation each day that Doctor Who is canceled. VFX studio The Mill was put into administration and shut down after 35 years when its parent company, Technicolor Creative Studios UK Limited, part of Technicolor Group, filed for administration. I think that means bankruptcy in the UK. I'm not sure. The Mill was the company responsible for the VFX around 150 episodes of Doctor Who, the Sarah Jane Adventures, and Torchwood until 2013. The same year, a group of artists and producers from the Mill's TV department formed their own company. And then it continued. So what do you think? I mean, you've heard about that Doctor Who's going the way of the dodo? Or do you pay attention to Doctor Who at all?
Oh, yeah. No, the thing is, I'm actually a Doctor Who fan, man.
Really?
And, I started with Eccleston like everyone else, of modern times. And, and I was so into it. I went back and watched the old Doctor Who with Pertwee and Baker and Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker. Like I went back, and started watching those old ones because I love the new ones. Man, it's kind of sad. I mean, I tapped out after what's his name?
The nutcase.
No.
You tapped out before her.
Peter Capaldi.
You tapped out with him.
No, after him.
Yeah, with what's her name?
Yeah. So once Capaldi's run was over, that's when I was done. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the Jodie Whittaker thing. You guys let me know if it's good, but I'm not going to waste my time.
I watched one.
It was shit.
Yeah, I watched one episode just to see what it was like, and it was just like I was being lectured to. That was it. The whole episode was, did you know how bad you are? Did you know you've destroyed the climate? Do you know that you're evil, basically? Well, by the way,
it's a shame, man, because you're talking about a franchise that's over 60 years now.
60 years, I think. 60. Yeah, geez, 65. Yeah, 60. I think 60 or 65. Who was your doctor, by the way? Mine was Tennant and Baker. Both.
Oh man, it's funny. I really like Colin Baker, actually. Like I know people love Tom Baker, and I love Tom Baker as well. He's the man. But I really like Colin Baker's kind of dark version of the Doctor. Like he was like the first crazy Doctor. You know what I mean? And I do honestly. In my heart of hearts, I wish Paul McGann would have gotten a little bit more time.
I can see that.
Like I wish he would have got just a little bit more, man. I was, even when they brought the whole War Doctor in, I was hoping like that would be Paul McGann being like the fallen Doctor, but they didn't do that, and
Yeah, he did. Colin Baker did get a raw deal.
They went with John Hurt, which is fine. I mean, I guess, but no, damn, I had so many good Doctor Who memories, man, and I think honestly that's why I was able to walk away. So I'm like, you know what? I have enough good memories that I don't really
need to take it away. They can't take it away from me. You know what's funny is I loved the new Who, Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's still something, I don't know if it's just remembering from my childhood and some nostalgia, but there was more theater of the mind, the original, because the sets and the props were shit. They can't be, but they were what they were. But it made it part of it. Like you had to have some imagination, fantasy to be able to, so it helped you participate in. You know what I'm talking about? Like where and I miss that. I mean, the new stuff was really good, except it didn't have that same, I guess, interactivity, or what I would call theater of the mind that we used to say for D&D that a good friend of mine always talk about. Well, it seems like Captain Checkbox is dead. Finito. So we get the Thunderbolts next. Then we're going to get, Ironheart. And then we're going to get the Fantastic Four. But this is what I wanted to ask both of you. Pascal came out again. And he was standing up on his soapbox. Yeah, they were practical. I loved them. But what I'm saying is Nigel, is that there was, because of the sets they use, that they were practical. They weren't as real today, but they felt more real back then because your mind had to fill in a lot of the gaps. Like it made it more real in a sense. Anyway, but Pedro Pascal came out again and he's going on a trans rant. Pedro Pascal has been replying to comments on a virtue signaling pro-transgender Instagram post, informing fans that he is pleased to hear they are unfollowing him. So he's going through his entire Instagram page after he put this post up. Dante and Tom, and he's going after each individual. Like, people are like, I'm unfollowing you. He's like, bye, leave, don't let the door hit you in the ass.
So if I go say something to Pedro Castro, he's going to say something to me?
Basically, 50-50.
Sweet. I can
on his Instagram. Now, what I'm wondering is if he starts ramping this up, because this is the second time in 2 weeks, if he starts doing this, do you think that'll have any impact on Fantastic Four?
Yes. Actually, I think it will. I think you know what this does? It reminds people why we don't like him. This is the reminder of why we don't like him. You know what I mean? I don't get this. I'll be honest with you, man. To this day, I will never understand how damn well you have a movie coming out, and what the thing you choose to do is fight with fans. Or fight with people. Like I don't get that, man. Sure, 6 months after the movie's finished, by all means, have at it, right? But you're doing this before the movie comes out,
right? But that's what I'm talking about. It's the same. It's like that Rachel Ziegler disease that she did for 2 years. Does Disney or Marvel not turn around and go, "Hey, numbfuck, shut up"?
Well, they're doing it with Rachel Ziegler.
Now they are, after she did 2 years worth of damage.
I know.
It's like a little late. It's just odd.
You know what, George? I keep saying this. They need to have this signed in blood. There has to be a gag order that says you cannot say shit except nothing but good things about the movie, about the company, and about your cast. That is all you can do. There needs to be gag orders put in place for these people, man. These studios are crazy. Like they're letting these guys go out there free balling in the media and right. Saying the most outrageous shit. No, absolutely not.
Well, what else it reminds me of is how tone deaf he is. The New York Times put out a poll recently, right? 79%. 79% of the United States, right, believe in two sexes. That means Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. You're not talking, this is just conservatives. Yet you got Pascal mouthing off. But that's where I find the disconnect, because that's going to translate into box office. How many people are going to find out about this? And if he continues ramping it up, let's say Fantastic Four is the greatest movie ever. Marvel hasn't done since Phase 3, let's just say. But if he keeps something like this up and then it picks up traction and then YouTubers, turn around and report on it, then Breitbart goes on and then one after the other, and it's in the news, that has bound to hurt. People are just going to go, I'm not going to support this guy, therefore I'm not going to support the studio.
I think this is something people need to understand about the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. It is imperative that hardcore fans get behind this movie, because the general audience has already spoken 3 or 4 times already that they just don't care about the Fantastic Four, right? Mm-hmm. And the only way that they will get behind it is if they see us getting behind it. right? Them choosing to alienate hardcore fans is literally to their detriment.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
If they think normies are going to go support the Fantastic Four
They're not.
without any kind of enthusiasm from us, good luck. Good luck.
It's so I think people are just going to switch over to Superman.
Oh, yeah. Superman's going to be all of that.
Yeah, Shark Dentures, it's 79% of the populace. That was at least 79% of the people that they polled. So it's conservatives, independents, and Democrats. And I think that's I'd love it to be higher, but 79% from what it was a year ago. I think people are now feel freer, have more courage to answer these questions and say, yeah, this is what I believe.
And let me just say this also real quick. If Fantastic Four does not work, they're done, dude. Like
Marvel is done or superhero movies? Because people keep having this debate. Which is
no, not superhero movies in general, but for sure the MCU is in. They're more in trouble than they've ever been if Fantastic Four doesn't work. Fantastic Four is like almost like the lead-in to everything else that's supposed to be coming with like Doomsday and Secret Wars and all that.
Right.
If they can't get people interested in Fantastic Four, I think it's a wash.
Period. Okay.
And in the same way, Superman. I mean, if Superman doesn't work, James Gunn's DC is a wash.
I would already argue that superhero movies are kind of done.
They might be, man.
Yeah, unless Superman or Fantastic Four really knocks it out of the park and blows everybody out of the water, then it really comes down to Superman, I would say.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Marvel's already kind of just fallen off a cliff. And I don't think Fantastic Four is enough to bring it back from death. I think you need and I don't even think the next Avengers because bringing back Robert Downey Jr. and all that business just smells of desperation.
But will the public think it smells? That's what I'm saying. Is there enough nostalgia?
The real test will be like when they finally revamp X-Men and if people will accept a new X-Men.
Okay.
And I bet you they're scared as shit right now because you just had Hugh Jackman play Wolverine again in probably his biggest movie ever, if you really look at the box office wise. So I'm sure they're like, oh, is it time to move on from the Foxmen?
Well, what do you think about this rumor that's come out from That Park Place, our friends over there? It says Marvel to cram young Avengers characters in the next Avengers movie with Chris Pratt as mentor. Have you heard anything like that? Because you know people in the MCU.
Wait, say that again.
It says Marvel to cram young Avengers characters in the next Avengers movie with Chris Pratt as mentor.
I haven't heard anything about this.
That might be why they put him back on Earth.
Yeah, actually, it could be.
So we're gonna have all the characters that nobody liked. So it's all the characters that nobody liked, basically.
I'm not so sure a lot of these other characters though are gonna continue to move on. Like I know that was a part of the plan, and we've got certain stories like Ironheart that are still sitting on the shelf. But I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if going forward, once we get past all that nonsense, they try to reestablish some of the mainstay characters, and they're going to almost have to, because I don't think that people are going to just jump to the first weekend of one of these superhero movies anymore. And I mean, Captain America, Brave New World failed, but I will not say that's a true litmus for this. That's why I say the Fantastic Four more so is, right? Because that's a new original thing, or not original, but I mean, you know what I mean? It's well known enough. It's the new version set in the MCU-ish to where if people don't respond to that, then I think the idea that you can just sell these things on it being part of the MCU is out the window, and they're going to have to learn how to, make Spider-Man and Iron Man and Hulk and Thor and Captain America mean something again and not just a mantle. See, and that's the thing I think they really got to get past.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So I guess here comes the question is that if Superman and Fantastic Four fails, then that's it for both.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've hit, and that's where I keep comparing this to where Westerns were by the 70s. Cause that's kind of where we're at. And it's almost self implosion. Cause if they would have just kept churning out these movies, like if we'd be on Iron Man 6 and Captain America 5 by now, with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., these movies would still be doing fine.
So
it's
then
the
what
fact
comes
that they did it
afterwards?
to themselves.
So what's the next genre? Going just back to movies?
I think just movies, man. I think it might go back to just, you know, action, adventure, fantasy.
Some people think it's video games, but I think video games have already proven only certain video games are going to translate to the screen.
Well, maybe they haven't really done them correctly either.
Well, that's the problem. It's like
pretty good.
Well, that's just it. You ask anybody, well, what's the right way to do this, and you'll get 3 different answers. Right? Like, see, that's the problem.
Well, because every game is different. I mean, and
exactly. Every game is different, and every person's reaction and experience with a game is
Borderlands
different.
was shit.
That's my point. Is like, to some people though, somebody be like, "Oh, that's great," but like, unless you have something like Mario Brothers or Sonic, where you can kind of hang a character on it.
Oh yeah, Sonic's the one that does pretty well.
Yeah, but they translated that well, and they made
even
it
Mortal Kombat, who had a successful first film. There's a lot of fans who debate about that second film. I thought it was fine, but then you have the game element where some people are like, "Well, it didn't follow the game lore," and I'm like, "What game lore?" Like, it's like it all depends on who the fuck you're playing, and they're like, "No, they have established game
Mortal
lore."
Kombat was bad for many reasons, but not because of the lore.
But that's the biggest gripe for most people. But like, my biggest gripe was, had they just finished the movie the way the original script ended, I think most people would have been fine. But that's just basically where Cole becomes Scorpion instead of this new character.
I think video game movies are too much of a 50-50.
That's a problem.
They work pretty good as TV series, you know, but
or they could just.
And we might have tapped out, and we might have tapped out fantasy already between, you know, the stuff that's been done to Lord of the Rings and having so much, you know, Game of Thrones already.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a good point, man.
I honestly think, like, as far as like, I think Verbal's right, like standard movies, like they got to reestablish the movie star again so they can actually sell concepts to the audience without it being a superhero or a remake or
Which
a
might
sequel.
save it. Which might
save it. But the other thing, I think, if anything, the next like big thing might be, and it's not even going to be big, it's just going to be, I think, retrofuturism. And I think, yeah, like Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know?
I got it.
Or like New Fantastic Four.
Or like what's a new Fantastic. That might be the one thing that saves it. But I don't even know if that's necessarily going to be a big enough thing to save it. Like, that's my point. And that's the only thing I kind of see on the horizon that's kind of making a comeback, because a lot of the Star Trek.
I was hoping Westerns would.
The time for that would have been when Red Dead Redemption was huge, and it just didn't.
I love
True
Westerns.
Grit was huge, but
I've been watching 1923 and 1883 all over again.
Oh, I love them too, brother. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're one of my favorite genres. I watch at least one every week, if not more. But it's just a genre that's never going to come back to the glory that it was. We're too far away from that time
not
period.
this day and time.
You don't really think so? Because when you look at, I mean, Harrison Ford, for all the shit he's done this year, I still watch 1923, and he's phenomenal. Just
here's the way you got to look at it, George. When they were making Westerns back through the 1930s through the 60s, they were pretty close to that time period yet. We are so far removed from then now. It's like when they used to do costume dramas back in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Oh, the Shakespeare stuff.
So like we're getting to that point where a lot of people see Westerns as more of costume dramas now instead of actually being, even look at 1923 as an example. It's more of a modern Western.
Right.
It's not even set in the typical Western time period.
What about 1883? They said it was one of their biggest hits. Like, I thought because of the audience was there, the cable streaming audience, I figured it would translate to the films.
The audiences never went away, and television kind of is where a lot of this stuff goes, and that's where I keep saying the future's television. Right. We'll see shows like Daredevil and all these other shows continue on because TV is an easy place to put a lot of these things. Look at the 70s television was still dominated primarily by like stuff like Little House on the Prairie and stuff like that, which was considered Western. Even into the 80s and 90s, you still had like, Dr. Quinn, and even Walker was considered a modern Western. Right. Texas Rangers. So yeah, I mean, you have those, and yes, Deadwoods and Yellowstone is technically a modern Western. So they're still around. They have their popularity from time to time. It's just, it's not a dominant genre anymore.
I got you. Well, here's one from Adam Rice. Remember for 4 months. How you doing, Adam? Great to see you. OG 80s sword and sorcery films. I miss those.
I'd love that.
Beastmaster, Conan. Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's going to have enough. There's enough comeback for it. It could, but.
And we also lost a legend the other day. Sadly.
Greetings. I'm Space Ghost. So, is this the first talk show you've ever been on? In outer space, of course.
Yes, it is. I hope it is not the last.
What do you mean by it?
Can I come back to that?
Sure.
I miss him. I miss him.
I miss the show Space Ghost in general, but yeah.
Yeah, but what about you, Verbal? Were you a Space Ghost fan?
I mean, that was it was funny because it's one of those characters that's been around for a really long time, and not many people still know about that character, which is funny to me. But no, I used to love the Cartoon Network version where he's like doing the talk show.
That was fun. Which was the one where he had the little monkey, the space monkey? I also watched that when I was a kid. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. But that was a long time ago. I'm like, when
yeah,
was
you're
that?
like, which one? Which one was that? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then we got this report before we start moving on to politics. We're going to do this, then we'll talk about Daredevil. Did you see Daredevil, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk
about that one.
Cool. We'll talk about this first. This is what I was mentioning at the beginning of the show. There's wish casting, but there's also now rumor that because Christopher Nolan has for years wanted to make a Bond movie. They said it. I went and researched it. He's dropped it a couple of times that he's always wanted to make a Bond movie. Always want to make a Bond movie. So World of Real is saying, like, would Amazon do it? Would they take it? And then they're picking this up from the Wrap. Speaking to a handful of top producers about Amazon's recent acquisition of James Bond, the overall consensus, and it's a strong one, is that Amazon absolutely needs to hire Christopher Nolan for the future of Bond to be taken seriously. Here's a quote from the Wrap. If Amazon wants to preserve the legacy, they should do everything possible to get Chris Nolan and wait for him as long as needed. Nolan himself has long suggested he'd be down to direct a Bond film. The influence of those movies in my filmography is embarrassingly apparent, Nolan told the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast in 2023. And so there's no attempt to shy away from that. I love the films. You know it. It'd be an amazing privilege to do one. You wouldn't want to take on a film not fully committed to what you bring to the table creatively. So when I first read it, even the thought, the possibility of having a Nolan there, I was thrilled. But then I started remembering The Odyssey, his casting. And I don't know if he's bent the knee, gone woke, but his cast looks crazy. What do you think? You think Nolan is still Nolan? Have you heard anything crazy about him?
Here's the thing, man. Nolan's one of those guys I know very little about personally, like his personal life and his politics and all that. I know very little about that. And I don't think he really makes it that known either, like where he stands in any direction. My thing is I do trust Nolan when it comes to like making movies. So
I always have until
so
the
if
Odyssey.
Nolan decides to make a Bond movie, I'll be first in line.
Really?
Oh yeah. I trust Nolan.
But you've seen the cast for The Odyssey, right? It's
you know what? Crazy. I have, and even with that, I'm like, you know what though?
You trust him.
I feel like Nolan wouldn't let politics overshadow the art.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm more
like,
curious if he'd even really still would want to anymore because
From 2 years
has he
ago?
said it?
No, it was
that
2023. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I mean, no, he's still okay.
he
So
said
if he's
in
still
21,
interested, maybe.
Yeah, he said it in 2023, 2021, when I was looking it up in 2016. Like he said it 3 times that I found on record, and then other people say he said it like.
Well, I know Bezos got bombarded with Cavill and him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess in a perfect world, if he is all cool with Cavill playing Bond and he's on board, I don't see a problem with this. If not, get what's his name, like Edgar Wright or not Edgar Wright, the other guy.
No, I like to see Edgar Wright's Bond.
Edgar Wright could do it too, but who am I thinking of? The guy who did like.
What about Skarsgård, who did Nosferatu? He's a great actor.
I'm talking about directors, though.
Oh, you're talking about Dre. Edgar Wright
Yeah.
could pull it off.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I'm trying to think of the other guy I'm trying to think of too that almost did it once but never did. Or was it Edgar Wright that I'm thinking of? Guy Ritchie might have been who I was thinking of.
Guy Ritchie.
That could be interesting. A Guy Ritchie Bond film.
Isn't that kind of like Kingsman though?
Who did the Super Bowl thing but never actually directed one of the movies? Was that Guy Ritchie?
No, but Kingsman was Matthew Vaughn, right?
Oh, that's right. That's Vaughn.
Maybe it was Matthew Vaughn who I was thinking of then, but yeah.
I don't know why I always confuse the two. Oh, wait a minute. Guy Ritchie did The Gentleman. If anybody hasn't seen that on Netflix, the series, watch it and then watch it again. It has a little bit of the Bond element to it, a little bit with the lead. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have as much attachment to the franchise as most people do, so I can kind of step aside and look at it a little unbiasedly and go, like, yeah, like this could be a good thing. If not, you get somebody who really has a thirst for wanting to do it. I mean, that's why I asked, does Nolan even want to? Because I was wondering when he actually said this.
Yeah, 2023.
I mean, if it's that new, fine, because otherwise he's made his own movies for so long now. Like, we got to remember, he made the third Batman film basically under protest. And look what happened there. Right? I mean, sure, some of these guys, they say they want to do these things, and then when it actually comes to doing them, it's like, okay, I wish they hadn't. You know?
Right, I got you. Plus, Happy Gilmore got a release date announced today for it got it.
I wish that trailer would have been better, then I'd be more excited.
Me too. It's July 25th on Netflix. Damn it.
Yeah, this is the trailer I was talking about. This feels like a Super Bowl trailer for something that's not even related to the movie.
It's great to see you back, Mr. Gilmore.
Like I'm waiting for him anytime to pull out like a deodorant or something.
Yeah.
Or shaving cream.
Gilmore. Big Daddy. So, yep, it's coming out on the 25th of July. So it's going to be going up. Well, I guess it really doesn't compete with them, Superman, Fantastic Four, and that.
No, not really.
Unless I like Adam Sandler.
Theaters, but I don't even think that's going to matter.
I like Adam Sandler.
I'm like, did we need a sequel to Happy Gilmore?
No, we did
I'm
not.
sick of these legacy sequels. I mean, between Beetlejuice, fucking
Beverly Hills
Cop 4,
horrible.
Some of the other ones, and those are two of the quote unquote better ones that people have liked. Let's not even get into the ones like Scream 5 and 6 and some of the other ones. And you got that news coming out now too. About
I wish they would just stop, man. I mean,
I'm tired of them.
I think the only one of those that I did like was Top Gun Maverick, but
hell yeah.
And that was an exception to the rules, right? Like that was the Cobra Kai, right? Like that was the one time you could get away with it and pulled it off the right way. Don't fuck with it anymore.
Yeah, it's just time to stop this, man.
Well, we still got Goonies and Gremlins.
No. Although Gremlins has potential, it's just been too goddamn long.
Gremlins can possibly work, but
only I know I probably won't like it, but yeah.
Okay, so Daredevil released last night.
I didn't watch it, so you guys go ahead.
Yeah, for a couple minutes, and then we'll jump into politics and cover everything else that happened. Funny, it released last night at the same.
Well, don't speed up on my account.
No, I'm not. At the same time, pretty much as President Trump gave his quasi State of the Union, his address to Congress. So, Verbal, Daredevil episode 1. Those first few minutes grabbed me by the throat and didn't let go.
I totally agree, and it's weird because I look online and I see like people trashing it. I'm like, did we watch the same thing? Because both episodes are pretty damn solid to me, man. And look, I know Disney is shit, and we give them a lot of shit for being shit, but you got to give the devil his due, no pun. Like you got to give credit where it's due. They did good with Daredevil.
They did. I do know what they're talking about, though. The second episode, look, it's always hard to do this. You're there to see Matt Murdock. You're there to see the Daredevil. You don't, without spoiling it, you want to see your character, interact with the other. I don't know how to do this without spoiling it. I'm just not very good at it. But there was a part I felt like it slowed down where they were building it. I enjoy it, but a lot of people don't enjoy that. They want to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what the second episode did was, and they had to do this, was they had to establish who is the kingpin as a mayor.
Correct.
Right? Like who is Wilson Fisk now? Right?
I love him.
And I feel like the second episode did a good job of that. Right? And kind of like exposing Matt a little bit in that episode, man, because there were times where you can almost see where he feels like a hypocrite, right? Like when he's talking to the guy in jail. I don't want to give spoilers, but when he's talking to the guy in jail, right, about why he's there, and you know, he's not that different from that. You know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to say this in code so that
I know.
But just kind of exposing Matt's hypocrisy a little bit too, and you know, yeah, the first episode was definitely better. Like that was, and it had to be. But guys, this is a long season, man. This isn't some 6-episode season, right? Like we're getting I think it's like 15 or something crazy like that. So they have to build. They have to, you know, establish storyline.
Once D'Onofrio came on screen as Kingpin, to me that was like a chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it was. It was yeah. Tom just said it's 2 parts. It's 9 this season, and then another 9-parter. Is it another 9-parter, Tom?
It's something
That's
crazy.
my understanding. It was supposed to be 18 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they started shooting
like old school, season TV.
I will say one minor nitpick. I don't see how they're not pulling back Matt like Netflix did to his Catholicism that Disney hasn't done.
Well, it's only been 2 episodes.
No, I know, but you know, when every time we saw it in the Netflix one, he went to his priest,
right,
or the church, or a Bible. I mean, there was always something rooting him back. That's what would bring him back.
But we also have to come off the fact that he almost kills a guy, basically, right?
Yeah, you're not saying who. That's okay. Yeah,
Daredevil, and I feel like they're working up to that, right? Like him getting. I feel like once he becomes Daredevil again officially, you know, they'll probably work that angle back into it, right? And maybe he'll find his faith. But I feel like, you know, the first 2 episodes, I you know, as long as they get to it eventually, I'm okay with how they did it so far, right? Again, we're only 2 episodes in. That's the thing, and we have a lot more to go.
I love D'Onofrio. That to me is what I was saying was a chef's. I like him when he's on screen, and whatever he does, I just think he's out of this world. And I did like you. It's funny how he says he's changed. Do you remember that one scene, Verbal, where you had that commissioner and he just kind of I'm like, there he is. It wasn't violence. It was just, you know, it's almost like the director gave us a peek at the Kingpin again. You're like, because how long can he do that? It's like, how long can he go that way?
But it also shows that he could be scary without even touching you.
Right. And
you know,
I will say that actor who played the commissioner, kudos to him. I don't know his name, the character actor. Every movie that I've ever, or TV show that I've seen him in, from one television series, probably no one's going to remember, is called Jericho. Do you ever remember a television series?
Yeah, I remember Jericho, yeah.
That guy is an asshole in every I mean, it's like, I feel like casting directors go, hey, we need an asshole. I got the guy, the bald guy.
Yeah. That's exactly what they do. Like character actors, like they have their list. So
I love Jericho. I watch it probably, once a year, because I just hate that they cut it short, you know, when they knew it was going to be canceled and they wrapped it up. But no, I enjoyed it. I saw there was a few moments, I would say about 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning of the second episode. I'm like, come on, move a little forward. But I know what they were doing, so I didn't complain. I also like the way Disney did the action. They didn't explain why the guy in the first episode went batshit. You know what I'm talking about. The beginning, the first attack.
Oh, no, wait. So did you see you didn't see Daredevil season 3?
Yeah, with Bullseye.
Yeah, that was Bullseye.
That was done. I thought that was done.
But that was Bullseye.
No, I know it was, but I thought they wrapped that whole storyline up. I know he came back, but was it? I must have not watched the end again. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I'm going to need to watch it again. What happened at the end of season 3? Did like he have some kind of like vendetta?
Well, yeah, basically, like they thought he was dead, but it turns out he was alive, but his back was broken, and so they infused his back with like some kind of like technology or something. So
wasn't it from the aliens, from the New York, from Avengers?
No, it was just some science thing. Kind of like made him a little bit kind of like bionic, I guess. But yeah, I guess the beginning of this episode, which is him like carrying out the vendetta that he had against Daredevil.
Okay, see,
because remember he knows who Matt Murdock is.
Yeah, he does, but he didn't. I was surprised he didn't let that go in one scene. Anyway, it's hard to talk about it without any spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for people.
He'll never let it go with Daredevil. So
I have a few Daredevil issues. I was never that big into it when I was younger. So they're kind of like the Batman and the Joker.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, well, I mean, it's more like Daredevil Kingpin, but like Bullseye is like his like physical nemesis.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. Adamantium. Someone said, "Oh, adamantium." I was a little bit surprised also by the violence that Disney went that far, which I'm glad.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, not away from it.
No, nope, not at all. Of course, another person who's familiar with violence has started a reality TV series. Yes, that's Alec Baldwin.
Oh, Jesus.
How to Kill People with Me and My Family. Well, this comedian, I guess, heckled him for a while. Watch, listen.
Alec, it's your favorite president. Look, Alec, I will offer you a total pardon because I want to be friends, right? I want to be friends. I will give you a total pardon for murdering that woman if you kiss the ring. Kiss the ring, Alec. Kiss the big ring. Come on, Alec. Come on. Look at Alec Baldwin, right? He did that impersonation of me. It was not too hot, not too good. But look, we're back in office. You lost. Kamala lost. She's somewhere getting intoxicated. Look at that suitcase. Unbelievable. Well, Alec, if you don't want that pardon for murdering that woman in cold blood, you can call it first degree. You can call it whatever you want, but it was not good. She's looking down on me right now, smiling, happy. Thank you for confronting the man who took me out, who killed me. And that's okay.
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
You realize, by the
Whoa.
way, no, look at me. I want you to look at me.
Sure.
You got a camera on me?
The ring. No, it's the ring.
My kids live in this building, right? But I want you to know something.
We love the children. We're doing great deals for the children.
Be real careful.
Okay.
If it's a camera, I snap your fucking neck and have them break your fucking neck right. So you know that, don't you?
Okay. All right, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen, class act. Believe me. Okay.
Did you hear that? What he said? I'll snap your neck in half if the cameras went on.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
So it's another day that ends in Y for Alec.
Right, but the fact is he knows the cameras are on. Listen to that. He knows the cameras are on, and yet he gives that threat.
But you realize my kids live in this building.
It's because he thinks he's a tough
We love
guy.
the children. We're doing great deals for the children. Okay.
I'm doing great deals for the children.
Break your fucking neck right. So you know that, don't you?
Okay. All right, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen, class act. Believe me. Okay. Oh, he's yelling at me. I'm a citizen of this. I was born and raised in New York City. I love you, Alec. Alec, look, Alec, you don't want to attack your favorite president, Alec. Look, I love you. I love you, Alec. He's got more balls than De Niro, that I can tell you. De Niro ran away. Alec confronted. That's good.
That guy is a funny comedian. I like him. He's a pretty funny comedian. Now,
I'm not a huge fan of like the whole like ambush comedy stuff. I
don't like that. I just like his act is pretty good, but no, of course not. You shouldn't do that to anybody.
It's kind of like, look, man, I get it. Make fun of people on your show and do all that stuff, but the whole ambush thing is something I'm just not.
I don't know where that started, but
I know there's a lot of right wing comedians who do a lot of stuff like that.
Oh God, I know the guy you're talking about.
Alex Stein.
He drives me crazy.
Yeah, I look. Alex Stein is a guy I take with a grain of salt, but I don't like when he's on a show. Fine,
yes.
But,
don't go into people's lives and like, hey, who's that guy that he carries with him who wears his underwear? Who just wears underwear? He's naked except for his underwear.
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name.
But you know what I'm talking about? He walks into people's offices and he's like, this is my black lover, and the guy's butt naked except for his underwear. Yeah, I can't stand that. My point is that guy was an ass, the comedian. Pretty funny, but an ass. It's Baldwin's response. That's the thing that gets me. It's like, I'd fucking break your neck if the cameras weren't on. It's like, dude, you have a civil suit that's up against you from the family about the shooting. And he just doesn't seem
he fell for the bait, right? And apparently it's pretty easy to bait Alec Baldwin. So
I'm surprised he has a penny left, because people, I'm sure they go up to him all the time, and that he hasn't popped them.
Yeah, look, I don't feel bad for Alec Baldwin, but I think that he does need well, I don't know, man. I feel like the guy's too old at this point to even talk sense into. So
yeah, it is. It is pretty.
I just feel like when you have that much to lose, you got to be a lot smarter about the way that you move around. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't just threaten people because you don't like them.
Right. Just walk away. What are they going to do to you? I mean, the guy's not gonna touch you. He's an asshole. Fuck him. If he had said nothing and walked away, like good luck, God bless, guess what? Everybody would have looked at that guy and go, the comedian's the asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. He would have won.
And he fell for the bait. That's the problem.
He must have a really hot temper. I mean, just uncontrollable.
Oh, of course he does.
Yes, I know it's legendary, but when every time he's done interviews, like, oh no, I get a little hot under the collar, but that's not really me. That's just the moment. No, dude, you're a bag of nerves.
He's always been that guy.
And then we had news today that the DC mayor just announced. This was interesting.
Mayor Muriel Bowser saying what has been known as Black Lives Matter Plaza in D.C. since 2020 will be changed. The mural will instead be part of D.C.'s America 250 mural project, with students and artists from across all 8 wards involved. There have been efforts in Congress to force the district to change Black Lives Matter Plaza or lose federal funding. In a statement, Bowser says, quote, the mural inspired millions of people and helped our city through a very painful period, but now we cannot afford to be distracted by meaningless congressional interference.
I like that. What do you think?
I'm all for it, man. I've never made it a secret, man, that how I feel about Black Lives Matter as an organization. I think that unfortunately they duped a lot of people and they took advantage of some deaths, basically. And I just wish more Black people understood that, this whole thing, it was never even about Black people. That's the problem. This was a group funded by Black lesbians who, took the money that they were given and donated them all to like gay organizations instead of like the Black families that were affected by the death. So, and I've been saying that for the longest time. I remember when all of this got started, like back in 2014 with the Michael Brown and Ferguson situation, and I found out pretty quick then how full of shit Black Lives Matter was. So,
wasn't that when Obama said that could have been my son?
That was.
Or was that Trayvon?
That was Trayvon Martin. Yeah,
Trayvon Martin.
Michael Brown was a little bit after that, but still during Obama's time period. Though. And my whole thing was like, it's all the Black people who were basically, talking about how bad, things were under Trump, the first time and the racial tensions. I'm like, how come you guys weren't saying all that shit when, Black people were getting killed by cops under Obama? Right? Because, hey, we have a Black president now. How come he didn't put an end to that shit?
Oh, yeah. Right? Why didn't he point it out? But they never do. It's the same way. We just brought it up at the beginning of the hour when we're talking about how you have the California wildfire, but then you have the one in South Carolina, and immediately you get a reporter who turns around and he's jumping for joy because he's like, see, yes, we know there are fires everywhere, except South Carolina took all the precautions. You can take all the precautions you want. It just minimizes it and it helps them to manage it better. But they're not sitting here running out of water because they tried to save a fucking fish or a spotted owl. Yeah, it's insane. Anna Paulina Luna. I don't know how much you like her, but I love Rep Anna Paulina Luna.
But also, it's funny because we joke around about Doge and Doge should do it.
Right.
It's like if Doge even looked at just some of the books on Black Lives Matter, man, like it would be crazy what they find.
Well, you saw a couple of them. They have Beverly Hills mansions, New York penthouses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, dude, so many grifters were born out of that. Guys like Sean King and
Malcolm X.
Talcum X, yes.
He hates that. Talcum X.
Sugar, whatever you want to call him, I mean.
Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it just bugs me that, again, there's this weird thing in the Black community where, we love to claim we're not a monolith, but then we treat each other like we're a fucking monolith. So.
You remember Dolezal?
Oh, of course. She has an OnlyFans, right?
Come on.
I'm not even kidding.
You're pulling my leg. There's no way. She went.
You not.
Yes. Fuck, I'm going to have to skip the story I was going to do next. We're going to get back to that because since you just told me she has an OnlyFans, I'm going to share this. Where the fuck did you go? Rachel Dolezal has an OnlyFans. Oh my God.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal has an OnlyFans, and apparently she does everything on there, man. I mean, I think she does everything except bang another guy. Like she does a lot of solo work, let's just say.
Wow.
And she has quite a few followers, man, because novelty, I guess.
I just remember her interviews where when it was first coming to light, how she was saying she was black. And they were like, well, no, you're
well, she's what I call transracial.
I identify as black. I
identifies as a black woman. So.
Well, since Rachel Dolezal is doing OnlyFans, as Dante just informed me, which blows my mind. I didn't even. Wow. Well, you got somebody else who everybody used to know has decided to become a rainbow activist. Casey Anthony.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Be careful what you say. She's going to sue you.
Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point.
Her dead daughter.
I thought her daughter died. That she's the one. Who...
Oh, this is grim, dude. Like this is bad.
I thought unless she has another kid.
Her daughter that died, like as if she's alive.
I don't know. I don't know if Casey Anthony has another kid. I don't know.
Oh my God, this is.
I hope the fuck not.
Hold on.
Because she said her daughter. I'm like, wait, the daughter she killed?
I got fun looking it up. No, holy shit. Casey Anthony, it says, does not have any children.
Oh, dude, this is dark.
Wow.
This is dark, man.
Point to some of the things that they have said and done.
Wait a minute, think about that. So she is monetizing her dead child.
Oh, and she's getting raked over the coals.
Am I understanding that correctly? She's monetizing.
You are totally correct. What did you say, Tom?
She's getting raked over the coals. Share my screen real quick, and then you go back to yours. So, yeah, she's threatening to sue because you got people saying like you're rebranding yourself as a legal advocate is like Jeffrey Dahmer opening a steakhouse.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just one or two of them. And yeah, so she rates this really long, lengthy thing about how she's going to sue everybody.
Dude, this is dystopian, man.
I know, right?
Right. I think this kind of proves the point that, yeah, she did it. I mean, there's no, come on. Who does that? It's not like she's saying, my child is dead, therefore I'm going to start an organization, a charity to protect children. It just has nothing to do with that.
No.
She's trying to grift off a child for a rainbow flag.
She thought this was a good idea.
It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it's wow. What do you guys think of that? Jennifer's what do you think of that in the chat? One,
I'm almost speechless. I'm like,
yeah, one, you're speechless. Two, it makes you sick. Wow.
I mean, but you know what though, man? Am I surprised? Probably not. I'm not that surprised, man.
Come on, you have to be a little. That's how many people. George. How many people monetize their dead child?
George, here's the thing. Right before I hopped on this on the show with you right now, just a few minutes ago, right before I did that, I had posted or retweeted a post about that Lily Phillips chick who's now going to old folks' homes and banging old guys, the senior citizens, for content now.
What the hell? So Rachel Dolezal is OnlyFans. Casey Anthony's monetizing her kid, and you got Lily Phillips is doing what again?
Going to elderly homes and banging like elderly men.
Okay, let's finish. Fuck, my brain is gonna. Okay, we're just one at a time. Let's finish.
Dude.
Wow. Wow, we need to correct the timeline in a big way.
Done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently.
Okay, bullshit. She wants to make money. Okay.
I mean, even though she hasn't been in prison, she looks like she's been in prison. She's lifting weights, getting tats, you know.
Wow.
Her neck's thicker than mine. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, that's Mexican Iron Man for $5. Hey, Verbal, I texted you that Lily was at my place on the down low, bro. Come on, man. The Mexican elderly home doesn't get much action these days.
I'll be there in a bit, Mikey.
Wow. I got to find this that Verbal's talking about. You've got to
just
be
gotta,
fucking
I just got to find my Ben Gay.
Yeah.
You've got to be fucking with me.
I shit you not, man. She is going around to, you know, old folks' homes and banging like seniors.
Holy shit.
I'm just like, I hope she's bringing like Viagra with her or something, or some Blue Chews, because I mean,
well, I would be more worried about condoms in this response, because like in some of those old folks' homes, those old people be fucking so much they be passing around like STDs and shit. I don't know if you've ever heard of that stuff.
No,
yeah, it's true.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I found my oldest fan via Facebook, and when I asked for his address, he actually sent me the address of a care home. So I'm actually here with.
Oh, this is crazy work.
And I'm going to show them a good time. Today I'm at the care
This seems staged.
Those
don't
know
seem
what?
like
You
real
say
old
that
folks.
until the video comes out, Tom.
You know, no, but what I mean is those guys look way too healthy to be in an old folks home.
I mean, look, man, I'm 50. I feel like I'm not that. I don't look that old.
Yeah, they don't look that old.
Wow.
Hey,
I'm possibly wrong.
I'm going to clean our palates real quick with a legendary performer, Gene Hackman, who shares a little story about his dad. Jeez, I've got to wash my brain.
How old were you when your father left? Well, my dad left us when I was about 13, I guess.
Was it easy, hard?
No, it was tough.
Tough. I've read that there was a sort of casual wave goodbye.
Yeah, I was down the street playing with some guys, and he drove by and kind of waved, and
that was it. But you saw him occasionally, presumably, huh? Were you close to your mother?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Look how emotional he gets.
Yeah, it's a great story. I mean, it's sad, but he talks about how just
Life
one.
changed radically. It's only been 65 years or so, you know.
About how just one.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, that doesn't have the finish of the story. Oh, he goes on. It's great because he talks about how it's one of the things that got him into acting, because it made him realize how just one motion could carry so much emotional weight.
Really?
Just his father, just that nonchalant wave goodbye, and how much weight that meant to him emotionally. Yeah, it's a great interview. That goes on even farther than that. So yeah, I wish it had the whole clip there, but yeah.
No, I'd like to get the whole clip. That would be great. Hold on.
Yeah, R.I.P. man. He was
legend.
Great. Legendary.
Legend. I mean,
I just watched The Conversation and Enemy of the State last night.
Enemy of the State. I saw that Monday. Yeah, wow.
And it's so sad because it's like they use a picture from The Conversation for his old file. It's like if they would have just left enough little links, they could have made it the same character basically, but they didn't. They gave him too much background where you're like, oh, it can't be the same character. But yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen The Conversation as well, but
yes, I have. What I haven't seen is French Connection 2. Never saw that one.
You're not missing much.
It's
really, it's him though.
It's okay.
Right?
It's okay, but I mean, it pales compared to the first.
Yeah, he chases the dude to France, and he gets in with the French cops, and then like he ends up getting kidnapped and shit. And it's all right. It's just not the same film. Yeah.
Damn, One Punch Man. I guess we should send Paul Chatto. We should send Lily Paul Chatto's name now.
His wife would probably not appreciate that, but then again, she might. Because then
no,
he might quit pestering her.
No. But
he might stop sending me dirty pics too. I don't know. You think I'm joking?
It's such a weird, scary time where like women just feel like they have to do this shit, man.
But growing up, I imagine a lot of stuff in the future. Not this. No way in my life did I ever think that anyone, man or woman, would go bang 100 guys, 1,000 guys, and put it out there, and then like I'm gonna
in a day.
Right. It's just and be proud of it or promote it.
Look. There's always been,
yes,
whatever. There's always been Playboy, Penthouse, all those movies, but they had their place. Right? Like they weren't just out in public. Like you have to really go seek it out.
Yes, but this is everywhere for everyone to see.
You have to go to that random video store with no name to have the curtain, and go behind the curtain. You have to go into that liquor store to buy the magazines, that unnamed liquor store. There were places to go, right? It wasn't just in your face all the time.
Wow. Well, another thing to clear our palate. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who looks like a model and has brains to match, tore the mayors of America apart today. All of them who are involved in sanctuary city policies. This was a sight to see.
Individuals into ICE custody for the purpose of civil immigration enforcement encourages illegal immigration into Chicago. Or how about agencies, or agents not being able to stop, arrest, or detain individuals based solely on their immigration status or administrative warrant?
So we comply with all laws, local, state, and federal.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 13.
Hold on. I don't understand what you mean no video. Do y'all see the video?
I see the video, yeah.
Yeah.
I see the video. I don't know how y'all aren't seeing the video.
Okay, they're saying it works now. There must have just been a glitch or something. I don't know.
That's very, because we've been watching it the whole time. That's very weird. There's something going on odd with YouTube today. Let me just say that. It's just, wow. Well, thank you, everybody, for letting me know in the chat.
You'll probably be
StreamYard. I was going to say StreamYards has been wonky lately, too. So, yeah, it could be that.
24 and it is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi. I'm not doing that in an effort to bully you guys, but I do believe that your policies are hurting the American people, and you can make that known with the evidence that you can present to the Department of Justice. But if you guys continue doing what you're doing, you're not going to help anyone. You're going to hurt more people, and that's exactly why I'm tired of it. The American people are tired of it. And Chairman, I yield my time.
Cool. Now, I thought she was brilliant, but she's nothing compared to Byron Dolls. Oh, thank you for that, Lord Thoth. I didn't know there was an update. It was just, I've had trouble all day. That's what took me so long, and I was late. StreamYards would not let me connect.
Yeah, it's been acting wonky lately.
Hey, I like what she had to say, though.
Oh, yeah, but wait for Byron. Byron is beautiful. Tell me if y'all can't see this video.
Did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around 79 million since 2022.
79 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage.
You see how he's trying to divert the issue?
About 1%.
What is that? Because I don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone.
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you.
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing
which
mayor.
is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that
how
was
much did
sent
the city
from
of
us
New
from
York
the
actually
state
spend
of
on
Texas.
illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number, and if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
6.9 billion of taxpayers.
$6.9 billion of taxpayer money on.
Do you hear that again? $6.9 billion in a year. Not going to the citizens of the United States, to the citizens of New York City. $6.9 billion in the Big Apple alone. 1 year. And they had put that, you saw how they put that new, well, I call it a fine, that they have to pay every time they go into the city. How many taxes do they raise on these people? How much of a burden they apply to everyone? How many officers they don't have? Because they keep saying we don't have enough money. We don't have enough recruits. Even if we had the recruits, we can't pay them. We don't have enough firemen.
How many? I was going to say, how many police officers would that employ in a year?
That's insane.
Right. How many schools?
690,000.
Right. How many schools could be open? And then when they're talking about the shelters that they say they have homeless, how many? They could probably house everybody who's homeless in New York and feed them. 6 point, and that's just New York. You're not talking again.
Well, I'm not so sure that's the best idea, because then all that does is
I'm talking about the ones
people to be lazy. But yeah,
I'm talking about the ones who, because we got rid of a lot of the mental institutions, the asylums. I'm talking about the people who are mentally incapable, not the ones who are lazy. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot.
If anything, inject money into some mental health and shit. Yeah.
What about veterans?
And veterans, I was just going to say, and veterans help. That's the big one right there. Yeah.
Veterans.
That pisses me off.
Meals on Wheels. How much elderly care? People who don't have anyone else left in their life or alone. When I had a relative who was in the fire department, I used to go with them on runs. You know, about 30% of their calls would be someone who was like 85, 89, 9 years old, alone. You know, their children died or they didn't have kids. There's this one lady, and it was every other day for some reason, because she had a Meals on Wheels program, right? And the fire department, 9/11, no longer would transfer her call, because she would call up and say, I need help, or I'm hungry. And they're like, this is 9/11. And the first few times they did it for her. So eventually, I think one of the firemen told her, you got to call up 9/11 and say you feel like you're having cardiac issues. That's what they told her. So she'd call up and say, my heart hurts, my this. All of a sudden, the bus, that's what they called the ambulance. The bus would go out there. I went with them, and they would go and they'd bring her a double meat Whataburger with cheese or whatever she had asked for, because they usually knew she wanted a Whataburger, she wanted a steak, and that's all she wanted. Other nights, she just wanted to be able to have the television change until they bought her a television, because she had one of the old ones, but she didn't have a remote and she couldn't get up. So there's a lot of things that civil servants do who love our society, who serve with their full hearts because they love America, they love their communities. And we don't pay them enough. We don't give them enough equipment, enough service. How many firemen that I know say that they could use a FLIR camera for almost everyone, not just one per station, so they could save lives, better gear. Anyway, so when I hear 6.9 billion, I think of kids, the elderly, veterans, firemen.
It doesn't make any sense, does it? Right? When you sit down and you look at the grand, and that's really the best thing that Doge and Trump can do in the next, year or so is really try to cut all this excess spending, funnel all that money to the places you just said, the elderly, the veterans, education, mental health, and shit like that. Show the difference, right? Because that's where people like my dad are just like freaking the fuck out right now. And I know damn well if his retirement pay would go up, the SSI or whatever it is he gets, and stuff like that, like I'm sure that would make a big difference to him. But right now he's just buying into the bullshit that the fucking media is still spinning, right? Like the best part of it though is they can't spin the people's voices after the speech last night. I didn't get to see the speech yet. I don't know
I'm going to play. We're going to play in 1 second.
But you got more here you're getting into with the other stuff. But yeah.
Thank you, Adam W. That telling me that the congestion. He says where did it go? Congestion pricing is canceled. Thank God. I'm surprised that I even could mention that. Mr. Burger for $10. Mr. Burger says that the money is not going to the citizenry or for the betterment of the American people. It's all about helping illegals. Watch Quiz Time after Georgia Giants are. Please do. Right when we're done, go check out Mr. Burger. Brilliant. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to learn something and laugh. Thank you, Mr. Burger. This is
on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
You don't
services,
ask
so
about
we
how
don't
much
have
money
that
the city
number.
of Boston has spent on illegal immigration.
We
Are you
don't
out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
Do you
as
manage
part
your
of our
budget
city
or not,
policies.
Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep
Mayor
our city
Wu, do
safe,
you
and
manage
we
your
have
budget
the
or not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
The city
of
of Boston
the city of
is
Boston.
sick of having
I'm
people
reclaiming my
outside
time.
Boston
Mr.
telling
Bear,
us what
Mr.
we
Bear, I have
need.
a question for you because I understand Cato's perspective when it comes to
He just goes through. He is like a tornado. He just rips press. And that's exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. Now, when we're talking
Good
about
for him,
Byron Donalds, I would love that man to be president. Love the man to be president.
Yeah, he's not letting them make excuses.
No, he doesn't put up with that crap. Not for a second. Not for a second. Where did you go with the?
And you know what? Yeah, they all need to be investigated.
Yeah, you see a lot of states are starting to adopt the Doge model. They're implementing Doge in their own state.
California needs it more than anybody.
Yeah, but you heard that? I didn't believe it. Newsom says he's going to do his own Doge for Sacramento. I don't buy that. You didn't read that?
No, I read it, but I'm saying no.
Yeah, I don't believe he's going to clean it up. Yeah.
No, he should be investigated.
100%. 100%. This is part of the speech yesterday. This was beautiful. It threw the wacko radicals into a fit. And it was just 14 seconds. But the way Trump delivered it was like a knockout punch.
There are only two genders, male and female.
One of my favorites from last night's speech was it was a beautiful thing. There's this young boy who survived brain cancer. They had told his family that he only would have like 5 months maximum a year to live. And it's like 5.5 years later, right? And so Trump honored him last night because he has wanted to be a police officer. That's his dream, to be a police officer, nothing more. Oh, son of a bitch. I just screwed that up. There we go. And the left refused to stand for him. Not one Democrat, when the president called him out, stood up for the boy. Not one. Forget that. They didn't stand up when Trump said in the next budget, he wants to remove taxes on tips, taxes on Social Security. He wants to make permanent the middle class tax cuts. They didn't stand up for any of it. It's like you tell them
it's good. I'm glad they didn't. I want people to see these people for who they really are.
I know, but it shows you not a single one, except they just kept razzing him, with these little ridiculous signs.
George, these aren't people who love the country, man. Like I want people to see them for what they really are. I'm glad that they showed their ass because now people see it.
Do you know Trump even turned around during the speech and he said, if we could just work together. Sorry about that, Debbie. It's StreamYards. I'm going to keep clicking it. I'm going to put the video up that I'm going to play. I'm going to pause it for a second until everybody says they can see it. That way, hopefully it'll help.
On that note, never mind.
Can y'all see this now? Can everybody see this? Yeah, I have the MSNBC piece. It's to Phobos, my brother from another mother. Can everybody see that? Yes, cool. Here we go. Here we go.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
Now that's nothing. What Trump did next was amazing. Fucking camera. It's driving me. I'm just gonna put stop camera. There we go. What Trump did next was even better. You saw this child light up, and it was just a sight to see. A sight to see. There it is.
I am asking our
Can everybody see that? Just making sure. Yes,
new
that was awesome.
Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Look at that. Come on. That is awesome. That is awesome. No. That's how you can tell. Come on. You can tell that the president loves this country, loves the people. You know, I have a lot of gripes about politicians. Well, I can't stand most politicians, but I never have viewed Trump as a politician. There's some things he does I disagree with, but when he does it right, it's always about the love. He loves this country. He loves the people. And you can't fake that. This today, actually a couple of hours ago, he brought Daniels into the Oval Office. Look at this. It's just
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
It makes you just feel good as an American.
What a good-looking family, huh?
There's one more thing I got for you. Big hug.
Okay. That's very nice. Look at that family you got, huh? Very nice. How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. That was a big...
Can you see the map behind him? Gulf of America. God, I love them.
evening last night, right? Yes, it was. That was a big evening.
That's beautiful. But now, look at what happened a little while ago. This is what's horrible. Because he wears a police uniform a lot. You know, the one that his family made for him and then they bought for him. And he wore it one time and people were mocking him.
Oh, baby, you can't arrest me. You too cocky. What? Yeah. Bitch ass back for real. Sir.
Oh boy, that's embarrassing.
Yikes.
Arrest her. Arrest her. Arrest her. Arrest her.
Anyway, it's like you don't do that to a kid. The kid has his dream. He has his dream. God bless him. It's just, but Trump let loose last night, and then Al Green decided to disrupt everything. The representative from Texas, which was horrible to see. Let me just show you this one last thing about.
Well, I mean, all the Dems were kind of
right, but Green went ape shit. I don't know if you saw that.
Actually, I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah,
he got tossed out.
Yeah, and he got. I've never seen that before. Now, I think you should be tossed out if I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. You don't disrupt the president of the United States. You don't make a fool of yourself because it's. But again, it's kind of like Verbal was saying. I'm glad that they're doing it. It's just that he offered them an opportunity, kind of like a olive branch. Let's do this together during his speech. He's like, we could all work together for the betterment of America. We could make a better country. We could do this together. And he turned to the Dems. He's like, you, all of us. And they just held these little black signs up, resist, or Elon Musk's a thief, or trade, shit like that.
Take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the sergeant at
I'm going to pause it again and start. It seems like when I pause it.
Have we ever had this kind of shit before?
No.
Like ever? And this is what's hilarious about them trying to act like.
We did have a Republican once do that to Obama. They called out liar during a speech, which I thought was incorrect. I couldn't stand Obama, but you don't do it in a State of the Union. He kept sitting there going, liar, liar. You don't. That's not what you do. Period. It's the president. If you don't respect the man, respect the office.
Yeah, I agree.
engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the sergeant at arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
So they remove him, right? They get him out of there. And then about, where is it? 10 minutes later, he walks out, does the whole thing. And then he goes to give this big speech. And I'll save you from the video. He basically goes out that he did the right thing because he kept waving his cane as the president was talking. Because the president said, I had a mandate from America. We won the, electoral college to do the things that we're doing. And he kept, no mandate. He kept screaming, no mandate, and saying a bunch of other shit. So he walked out, he goes to the cameras and he's like, well, I had to say what I had to do. I had to do what I had to do. I'm like, what? He's like, I had to say what I had to say and I had to do what I had to do. And part of that is because I have to stop the president and warn people because he's going to cut Medicare and Medicaid. The president has never once, while campaigning or in office, said he's going to cut Medicare or Medicaid, but he continues. They just say it over and over. And he goes with Maxine Waters everywhere. They go to the HUD offices. They go to the Department of Education. And they're like, we want to see Elon Musk Doge team. We want to be let in. And they'll bring cameras with them. A security guard will stop them and say, sorry, you have to have an appointment. Who are you to stop us? What are we back in Jim Crow? I mean, like, put this whole performance on. It's just, what is this, Tom, that you're sharing?
This is basically all the people that were at the speech last night. And why they always look like they're trying to lay a trap for Batman.
You're crazy. Do you know what's worse? Is that the Democrats last night, a lot of the women were wearing pink. Did you notice that, Dante?
Yeah.
So they're doing this, they said, for women's rights. Okay? Except not one of them, 24 hours before, stood up to vote to stop men from being able to be in women's sports. But they were out there going, we're here for women's rights.
Because George, they look, what's funny is I don't even believe they believe that. They don't believe that men are women, right? But they know that the people who vote for them do. So they have to keep playing the game. They have to keep pretending. It's you know what? I want them to keep doing this though. I really do. Like I want them to keep being batshit nuts just so people will continue to see it, right? And they'll never get elected again, right? Like this is what I'm I'm kind of, because believe it or not, even people in California are kind of tired of it.
Really?
You know, the loud ones, the ones that live in like LA and San Francisco, they don't really speak for all of California. A lot of Californians are getting tired of this shit too.
Well, that's good. That's good, because if California, one of the things I used to love about California, besides the weather and the people and the beautiful women, and as we've talked about that before, was that California would always have this 50-50 Republican, 50-50 Democrat. It always found this good balance. You remember those days? You'd have a Republican governor, a Democrat governor, a Republican governor, a Democratic legislature, and they seemed to work together and build the Golden State. It was a beautiful thing. And the last thing we're going to cover is how I thought this was one of the best parts of the night, how Trump goes through Social Security.
We're going to.
Okay, I'm going to pause it like I did before so y'all can see it.
We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129. 3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149.
Do you think vampires exist? This maybe
I do now.
They like have been cashing Social Security checks. We have this underground underworld. It's kind of like Underworld. It's the vampire liking war going on.
And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people.
Yeah, BZ, what the actual fuck is true.
Keeps getting paid, and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159, and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthy.
You see, there's stupid little things.
I love how they're claiming it's false, but you can go look this shit up.
Right. But go ahead.
Well, and I was just going to even say that, what I laughed at most was like CBS and ABC tried doing the fact checks.
Mm-hmm.
And this time they couldn't even flat out say any of this shit was a lie. Like they tried to obfuscate some of the numbers while completely ignoring the fact that, sure, maybe he was off by a few 100,000 here or there or something like that on certain things. But the fact that people who are clearly not living are being paid, you're ignoring that.
Right.
Like this is again, just like with Elon and telling all this stuff about USAID. It's like, you're literally killing the messenger at this point.
But that's why we're here.
Yeah. How can you be resistant to somebody telling the fucking truth of the matter?
Exactly.
That you have all this corruption because those people right there don't want the corruption uncovered. That's why.
But you know what's great? You know what they're missing out? This is how the media keeps cannibalizing themselves. This has happened over Republican and Democrat administrations. That's all they'd have to do. Look, Republicans and Democrats have allowed this to come. So let's say they don't even have to attack their own side, quote unquote, by themselves because they're afraid. All they have to say is we need to clean up this corruption. And it has been allowed to continue for so long. But those were the little black paddles I was telling you about, Dante. They just kept popping them up with different things over and over and over.
Your country than I thought, Bobby.
We have a healthier country. Anyway, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more. We can cover some of it on Sunday. It was a beautiful thing. Monkey Jeebus. Where's Monkey Jeebus over here? He said something that I thought was pretty brilliant. Monkey Jeebus, I love you. He goes, I'm teaching liberals here to stop it with the taking sides. All government is our enemy. Yeah, government wants to control you. I believe in a small, tiny government. Get the hell out of our way. Take care of the military. Leave us to lead our lives and, do no harm to others and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think you were, Debbie. I appreciate you letting me know. I didn't know StreamYards was having such a big problem. No, I'm glad. Thank you. You're covering me. You're helping.
I expected the Dems to do exactly what they did.
You did?
No big surprise. I knew they were going to go there and protest. They weren't going to go there in good faith. We all knew that, though. We all knew that they weren't going to go there. And, look, if there's something that you genuinely disagree on, fine. But the things that are obviously things that we should all agree on, and they still didn't stand or clap, they were there to do what they were there to do.
Right, but it only makes them look bad. This is, again, I'm going back to basic strategy. They do not seem to be following any type of basic strategy. Like, they're lost. They're only burying themselves further. That's the part that I have a little bit of difficulty understanding.
Because for Democrats, George, the strategy is, what am I feeling at this very moment? That's their strategy.
But that's not going to help them.
No.
They don't seem to be. And to me, I'm like, are they dumb or just that radicalized ideologically? Because if they're dumb, then they shouldn't have been in this place of power to begin with. But if they're that type of ideologues, again, they should have been.
It's two things. They are radicalized, sure, but they're also corrupt. Right. And once you start digging around, they're going to lose a lot of money.
Right.
And they know that. So
they already are, and that's why they're throwing a fit. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what they're angry about. Is once things start getting uncovered, their wallet is going to get a little smaller. So, that's what they're looking at.
Well, that's what I keep saying. My dad is like, because he keeps claiming that all Trump is going to do is make all these billionaires more rich. It's like, why? What is the point of him putting himself through this shit? He's already rich. You should be sitting there asking yourself how all these congressmen and senators and other people got rich.
Right. Exactly. Well, the thing is when your dad sees the fact that Social Security is no longer taxed or tips aren't taxed, that's not the rich. It's just like Maxine Waters stating that Elon Musk is stealing money to line his pockets. The richest man in the world is not out there to grab $200 from each person. Like,
this is the projection, I think. Like, this is ultimate projection, right? Like, and this is what I don't understand. This is what I keep saying, my old man, too, is like, Trump has already been president.
Right.
He could sit around and write books and do other shit for the rest of his life and never have to do anything else and still make more money than anybody else that you know, right? And it makes absolutely no sense for him to put himself through this stuff. He's also, I hate to say it, one of those people who almost questions whether or not the assassination attempts were real. I'm like, how can you even sit there and say that shit?
You can watch it. Yeah, that's weird.
When I know for the fact that most people on the other side, if somebody were to try to do that to Biden, they would have been a much different reaction out of the country. You wouldn't have had, those tons and tons of messages and other things you saw on X about how, hopefully next time they don't miss and all that kind of crap. Like, I mean, it's like, who says that kind of shit, regardless of what you feel about this individual?
I agree.
Like,
hold on.
You don't even say that stuff about foreign leaders, right? Like, but anyway.
No, Istophobos just told me he had a super chat, and I checked. It wasn't there. Now it's here. This is the oddest thing. Sorry about that, Istophobos.
I saw it earlier.
Istophobos for $5. This was about Casey Anthony rebranding herself as a legal advocate. Is Jeffrey Dahmer starting a cooking show?
Yeah, I was pretty close to the steakhouse one.
You're brilliant, brother.
You might have said that before I brought that up.
But it didn't show on my screen.
Yeah, I know.
It showed on yours. It didn't show.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it here. Anyway, this is the last clip. DJ Daniels, again, who we already saw, the president made him a Secret Service agent. Everyone honored him. The Democrats refused to. And then you had an MSNBC anchor do this.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
There was no fucking conspiracy, you evil twat. Sorry. I hate lies. Tucker showed the videos. We want anyway. Does that shit not get under your skin, Dante? It irritates the hell out of me. It just, I can't stand any of them, so they will do nothing right for me, but don't lie. I despise lies more than anything else. Just say, I hate the people. I don't care if they cured cancer. Be honest.
But they'll never do that.
Because at least they could gain some modicum of respect to go, you know what? At least they said they hate this person. They're closed off, narrow-minded, myopic. They're never going to listen to anything. Trump kind of said it last night. He goes in part of his speech. He's like, if I cured the worst disease, if I made the greatest economy, if I did all this and everybody had everything, they would still hate it. They would stand against it. I just saw yours, Jose Taco. Thank you very much for that. It says, you don't think Spider-Man movie would do good? That was his question from earlier, Dante Tom. Because we were talking about
that's again, I think that's one of the exceptions to the rule. But if they make a stinker of a Spider-Man movie, then look out, because look what happened to the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. I mean, even Spider-Man and Batman aren't infallible. I mean, the Batman didn't even gross nearly as much as they were hoping. They figured that should have made $1 billion easy because the Joker did.
And I'm not saying it would be the complete end of the superhero film. I just think that it'll go back to how it was in the 90s, where we got 1 or 2, if we're lucky,
pretty much
per year, and even in the 90s, we didn't get 1 or 2 per year. We got like maybe 1 every 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, we had some stuff on television more so, and you're right, and that's kind of what I'm getting at too, is it'll just kind of fall off. We won't see, 3, 4, 5 movies come out of the MCU every year in DC.
Yeah, no, it'll be done. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. No, so we got to yours, Jose. This was great. So what are you doing this week, Verbal?
Trying to get better, man. In fact, once we wrap up, I'm going to down some NyQuil and see if I can kind of sleep off whatever I'm catching. So,
gotcha. Okay. Well,
it's like almost everybody I know is sick.
I've had it for 3 weeks. It's just now finally leaving.
Andre's under the weather.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. So everybody, please go check out Verbal Riot and subscribe to him. We want him to get better. Hopefully we'll see him this Sunday. We'll see you Sunday. You should be better by then.
Yeah. You guys will see me Sunday. You'll probably see me Saturday with Yellow Flash and Tom and all those guys. And hopefully if I'm better, hopefully I'll get better by that time, man.
You need some chicken soup. That's what
I honestly hop on DoorDash and order up some of that spicy Korean soup, because I just need something.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. We do in Greece. We do chamomile with a shitload of honey.
Oh, that sounds good too.
But just keep. That's what I did. I mean, it took a while, but all right, Tom. Where can they find you and what you doing next?
I should be on the Physical Media show tonight with Fanzine, talking about all the stuff I watched this week on Physical Media. Other than that, I'll be on Mead and the morning show in the next few days.
Okay,
other than that, you never know where I'll show up.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for all the incredible support, and please go check out the Woke Monologues. It is starting again to move a little bit on X more today. Wanted to move more on YouTube because I wanted to get out there. I want that message to get out there. Everybody who's seen it so far, when you check the comments, I mean, we almost have 600 comments and there's only 1 negative comment. It's really resonating with everyone. So I didn't get a chance to show it today. I'm not going to show it now. Verbal's not. I want Verbal to get better, feel better. Thank you all for your support, Verbal. Get better, my brother. You too, Tom. I will talk to you all later. Have a blessed week. I will see you Sunday. I'm working on a Meghan and Harry video because she just put out her ridiculous show called With Love, Meghan.
Oh,
it was horrible. You're talking about it was basically Meghan mentally masturbating every time one of her friends says, Oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. She films a reality show in somebody else's home and then acts like it's her home that they're doing everything in.
She is obnoxious, man.
And she puts edible flowers on everything, just so you know. Peanut butter sandwiches, cucumber sandwiches, bacon and eggs, lemon cakes. Like she goes, look at my little thing. It's edible. She also takes peanut butter pretzel nuggets out of the Trader Joe's bag, then puts them in a sandwich bag, puts a little bow around them and goes, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. I think this is though actually the last ride for Megan. Mindy Kaling is in it.
You know,
Good, she
honestly,
can go too.
I'd love to see the ratings or just see like the numbers for that show.
I think Rotten Tomatoes today had it at 32 from the critics. I think it was 13 from the audience, and about 90% of the critics from Variety to The Guardian to The Independent have basically said it's not even a reality show. That's why I said the closest to it is a mental masturbation. It's an ego trip. Because you know what it is? I just clicked it because I now know what I'm going to write down. She's making a product from 2010 because everything she's doing, you can go see it on YouTube in a 30-second short. That's basically it. Anyway, love you all. Have a blessed week. I'll see you this Sunday. And remember, we're fighters with one unbreakable rule. We never bow down. We never bend the knee. Always forward.